Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be replacing the fuel injector, fuel pump, and I'm going to actually clean out this tank. Recently I did this job about a few months ago and I put gas in it, and what I did was I put the old gas back in, which I shouldn't have did. Started it up, drove it, it drove fine, then I parked it, didn't drive it, and I got a feeling after doing that, the old gas clogged up the new filter. So I'm gonna just do the job again. This time I'm gonna replace everything, which is the fuel pump and the fuel injector. I couldn't get to the fuel injector last time because I didn't have the right tools. So now I have the correct tools, which is this set you see here. Lexibond bit socket set, tamper-proof Torx set. So this is what I'll be using to get the fuel injector out. We'll start by draining out the fuel tank, which I already did. This is the gasoline, it's already been drained out. Buy yourself a good fluid extractor. I have two different ones that I use to suck the fuel out the tank. This one here takes forever. You can use this for like small odd jobs, like brake fluid reservoirs or power steering fluid reservoirs. Easy process with this one here. Suck all the fluid out. The longer hose goes at the bottom, smaller at the top. Takes a few times with this flimsy piece to keep giving a few times to squeeze, but it works. All right, so let's get ready to take out this battery. Battery comes out, negative first and positive. And then when you put your battery back in, you look at the positive side first, then the negative. The next thing we're gonna do after that, take this side fairing bolt out. Come to this bolt here, this bolt here, that bolt there, that bolt there, this bolt here, that bolt here. To loosen up that, we'll be able to get to this bolt here, that bolt there, and then there's underneath this cover here. Once we take this off, there's two more bolts that we got to take off here. Pull this off, and then take that out. Take our tank off, disconnect the lines. All right, so let's walk through this. Let's get it done. We'll be using this. You can use your Allen wrench. I got a little Craftsman one, you know, handheld boy. This is the next piece I'm gonna take off, you guys. So you just come here, pop it up, just like that. And it'll just lift up and pull that out. And it comes right out of here. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna loosen up these bolts here. 1, 2, and 3. That one, and that one. This here comes right out the side of the fairing. That one there. Comes right out the side. And then you come around to the other side. This piece here comes right out. Come up to this side here. That one pops out too. All right, so we're about to loosen up these bolts here. We'll need a 12 for this bolt, 10 millimeter here. Bracket comes off. Again, pull these so you don't break anything. Sit over in there like that. Sit on there like that, and then this piece, I'll just sit on the floor like this to line everything up. I know where everything goes. You have the seat here, another part of the seat side fairing bolts, that plastic cover. Then you have these 2 bolts here, all right? And you have these 3 bolts here with the bracket. All right, time to take off the gas tape. So, lift up here. See, it's nice and loose. Check to make sure you have clearance on all sides. Turn the light straight, just to make sure. A little bit of fuel might come out, which is okay. You want to grab gently here, gently, and then you want to look underneath. You got to unhook this. You want to unhook this line here. This hole's right here. You got to squeeze that clamp to release it off of here. Squeeze it, and you're just going to pull it down. So you pull that off of there like that, and then you just pull the line so it comes until it comes off. Just be careful, twist it a little bit, and boom. There you have it. That line comes off just like that. A little bit of fuel might come out of there. When you do it, so be careful. And then on here, there's 2 clamps. You guys can see, pull this out the way. There's 2 clamps on each side. So you get yourself a pair of needle-nose pliers. Turn this a little bit more on the side so you can see now. And you squeeze these 2 clamps. Squeeze and you pull. A little bit of fuel will come out, a little bit. Not much. You come around to this here, push, disconnect. There's a locking tab on there. So you just take that locking tab, push on it, and then pull down on your connector here. Pull that out, boom, take that out. Move that connector to the side. There's another hose underneath here that you have to twist off. Fuel tank comes right out. My fuel injector, you get to that, it's right here. Right here. So we gotta take this tab off, and then loosen up these 2 bolts. Gotta take this out the way, and then we should be able to get to it. We'll disconnect this here, loosen up these 2 bolts, and then we should be able to take the fuel injector out. Disconnect this here, this connector, because that's connected to our fuel injector. Squeeze here on this tab, pull up. So this is our fuel injector. And also you gotta disconnect this tab so you have room to work off your screws. And then you should pull right off like that. So you move these 2 wires out the way so you have room to get access to these 2 bolts. In order for me to get to these 2 bolts, the angle is so awkward. I can get to this one, right? But then trying to get to this one, as you can see, this is in my way. This is in my way. And that's the only way you can get this fuel injector detached, because it's bolted on. You can't just pull it right on out of there. I gotta move this out of my way. Now, got the special Torx bit key. Okay. Just wanna move that to the left. Won't even gotta take it all the way off. Just move it to the left like that. Break these bolts loose. Lift this up, and your fuel injector should come right out. Boom. There we have it. This is our fuel injector. So you guys can see what that looks like. See underneath the bottom. So this is the original fuel injector. It hasn't been replaced yet. You see that? You see our fuel injector? See how clogged it is? It's like yellow. It's clogged up. This is what I should have did the first time, was replace this. It's clogged up. Not enough fuel's being injected. So I'm going to take off the old fuel injector. Oh. So here we have a few hoses they give you that come with a new fuel filter. But I'm going to replace the injector. This is our new injector. So you got to make sure you put that rubber seal on here. Okay. So we're trying to line these bolts up, right? Turn it that way a little bit. That's in. Okay, our injector's in. Make sure you put the thread that came out of whatever side it came out of right back in the same section, so you don't cross thread these. They're very sensitive. Give it a little tug up to make sure you lined up everything good. Once that's good, come in and do the other side. Like I said, you want to take your time. You don't want to cross thread anything. You want to take my gloves off on this side so I can feel good. Tighten all this back down. Right hand. Like that. You don't want to over torque. Nice and snug. Because you don't want to crack this plastic. Injector's been changed. So we're going to come here, we're going to turn this back like this. We're going to take this, we're going to place it like that, we're going to line it up, and then we're going to tighten this back up. You want it to be just right. See that? You want that to be just right, just like that. Since it's been torqued, I like to try to line this up. This yellow dot here on the bolt, try to line it up with this yellow dot on here. That's as far as I'm gonna go. Keep it even. You don't need a lot. And then we'll come on over, we'll grab this, We'll reconnect this here. Reconnect this here. New fuel injector has been installed. All right, next, I'm gonna replace the unit here. I'm gonna take these bolts out. I'm gonna be replacing the whole unit this time, and not just the pump. I wanna replace the whole thing. Now, before I put this in, I'm gonna do comparisons to make sure this new unit is compatible with the old one, because I had a problem. I think the old one, I had a problem with the fuel sending unit as far as the lever. All right, let's get these bolts loose. This one right here, get behind that one can be a little awkward. So there's a little tab here you can just push this rubber cover up out of, just so you can get to that bolt. Just like that. So you will have to disconnect these two hoses in order to get this unit out. So what I like to do is just come here, pull that back. This side, same thing. Squeeze. And you always replace them back the way they were when you, these clamps, the way they're shaped on the hose, you always put them back the same exact way. Fuel filter. The old unit. As I think that somewhere along the lines here, this unit isn't reading that it has fuel, right? Because every time I would try to start the bike, it would act like it doesn't want to start. It's not getting any fuel. You hear the fuel pump priming and things of that nature, but nothing was really happening. It was always reading that there was no fuel. No fuel, was reading empty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep everything here connected the way it is, and I'm just going to replace this unit, this whole entire unit, with the new one. I'm just going to replace that. Brand new everything on here, brand new. Here's the old. I feel like this unit, something is going on with it. There's a lot of corrosion inside of here, and I don't think it's reading a good connection. So I just decided to replace it, because replacing the fuel filter, yeah, that helped out. But then, like I said, a couple months later, it started reading that it didn't have any fuel coming into the system. The pump got clogged again. I will be taking it back out of this unit and inspecting it. For now, we're just gonna replace it. You see this? I should have did this last time. I showed y'all, but this is what the inside of my tank looks like. See all that rust? This will cause a clogging problem. This will clog up your fuel pump. This will clog up your fuel filter. This will clog up your fuel injector. All right, so you gotta make sure when you get the opportunity, you see that rust moving around down there, you gotta make sure when you get the opportunity to suck all this fuel out and then clean the inside of this tank out. So that'll be my next mission. All right, I'll put some CLR in here and let it soak for a little bit and clean all this rust out of here. So that way this job that we just did won't be for nothing. All rust. Rust deposit, all rust. So fuel is hydroscopic. That means it absorbs water, and especially when you let your bike sit for the wintertime, and when you let it sit and you don't start it, the same thing that happens inside your fuel tank will happen inside your fuel pump. It will just, the fuel that's inside that pump will just turn into rust just like this and clog up the pump. So I just want to make sure you got a chance to see what it looks like and see how that rust and stuff like that moves around inside of here. All right, so I can imagine what the other side of the tank looks like. This is the top. I could imagine what's on the bottom. So I'm definitely gonna let this thing soak. All right, so we're just gonna check out everything here to make sure everything lines up, make sure everything's even. Again, you gotta pay attention to certain stuff. Hopefully I can reuse this seal. Be careful. Some fuel's leaking out of here. There's gas still inside the pump. So while I got the new pump sitting to the side, I'm gonna take over the old one. It's already detached here. Pull this right out of here. So just so you guys can see, it goes down in like this. And you reconnect and you just taking these two tabs and you push them down and they lock in. So I'm taking the two tabs out. Pull these two tabs right on out, like so. They come around like this and they connect here like that. All right, detach these, just be careful. Once you have that detached, pull your unit apart like that. All right, this is what the unit looks like when it's all taken apart. Next, gonna suck all that fuel out, let that get cleaned for a couple days, and then we'll drain it out and then we'll put everything back together on the bike. Pretty much want this as empty as you can possibly get it. You now have a pretty much empty tank. Oh, the fuel's still in there, but we'll get all that out. I want to take our CLR in there, put that in there next. We filled our container up with some CLR, some degreaser. We're gonna let this sit like a good 24 hours. Clean out our tank real good, scrub it real good. Once we spray it down the inside, we'll scrub it out, get all the rust out as much as possible. And then after that, we'll put our tank back on.